Hi everyone, this is Bruno from House of Falcone. I'm here with Kezia Kingston.
Correct.
This is Threads of Success, where we explore all of the most successful entrepreneurs that we have the pleasure to address. How are you, Kezia?
Good, very good. Thank you, Bruno. Thanks for coming to Sydney.
I know, it's my favorite spot. And then knowing that we could get together, because I know that there's a lot of things happening for you, you're super busy. We literally, I think we exchanged the idea of sitting down together in Palm Beach. So it's cool to make it happen.
I think we started it in Bali last year.
That's right.
When we met there, and then at the certain points where we've gone around the world together, we're like, oh, we need to do the podcast.
We should do it.
We need to do the podcast.
We should do it.
And now finally we're here.
I mean, don't you find it particular that the people that you're very close to, usually you're they great, they're doing great, and then you never get the chance to to make time. So I really like that.
Me too. And I think that's a nice thing, that we can connect, even though we live in different states, that we connect in all different parts of the world.
Yeah. So I want to tell a little bit about your story, because we're talking off camera, and I think and right now, social media, the way that we act, the way that we portray ourselves, it makes it so we create a brand, which, obviously, I am in the world of personal branding. So this is what we do. We work with people to make sure that they incorporate their personal brand when they go out there. So social media and public speaking and so on. But in your specific case, I wanted to tell your story because it's so refreshing, unique, and kind of it makes you feel like there's possibilities out there that most people they only dream of, right? They see you today, global entrepreneur, speaking in front of thousands of people all around the world, Europe, the USA, Australia, and that's not where you started.
No.
So tell me a little bit about, where did you find the fire? Because I think that's probably a very key question, is understanding why. So what drove you to the Kezia of today?
So I think, first of all, I'll roll back. So I originally studied marketing, and then I worked in advertising, and then I switched to client side. I actually did work for Mercedes. I did passenger car marketing, it's totally different when I tell you what I do now. And then I enjoyed it, but then I thought I want to work in the health sector, because I'd always thought I want to do, good for society, as cliche as that sounds. So then I retrained as an occupational therapist. In around that time, I had kids. So I've actually got a nearly 15-year-old and a 11-year-old. And I did that while studying and retraining, because I wanted to change the direction of my career. And then I started working in public health, and I really loved it, but I felt that my mind was too curious. I wanted to change things. I wanted to change policies. I wanted to change how we looked after our patients at the time. I did a lot of work in palliative care, and I loved that. That was where I really, found it really interesting, because we could create a space for people, in their last section of their life, and it was actually lovely. But then I just realized that I was too noisy. So that was probably the thought. If people just ask me why did you start your own companies? It's because I felt I just didn't fit in working for somebody else, because I wanted to change things. I work really fast, I work really hard. So I thought the way to manage this was, I'm just going to do my own thing. So I started my first company, and I started as a sole trader on my own. And I thought, I'm never going to hire anybody. There's just no way. I just thought, I don't even know how that's going to even work. So I thought, I registered just as a sole trader, not as a company, because I thought I'll just never hire anyone. And things went well. So I work in the disability sector in the NDIS, and it went well. And then I got momentum, and then I got a business coach. That was probably one of the smartest investments I've done, investing in myself, because I hadn't run a business. So in the same way you get a tennis coach when you want to learn tennis, I was like, I need to learn business. Yeah. So I got a coach. And then it sort of snowballed from there, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I saw, and funny enough, I saw the rise, but halfway through. I saw your growth halfway through because that's where we connected. I actually, believe it or not, I missed when you started it all. Like, because we have actually coincidentally the same coach, but while I was probably in underwater with my growth and I didn't know what to do, you probably were in that same stage, and then we met in the middle, and then
I'd say though that my first company has grown very, very fast. So we're one of the fastest growing. We actually one of the fastest growing company in Australia, New Zealand in healthcare. So we grew fast. I think I'll be 2 years old in March.
Wow.
So it's gone through the roof.
That's right.
That's probably why you're like, wait, I blinked and what happened? Oh, that's right. Whoosh. So it went. And I think that's kind of been the bit that's most exciting. It's building a company is the chase. It's not, there's the goal and that's then the end. It's actually the best bit is the chase and the wind and the weave. And, it's hard. Like I would say, 9 out of 10 days is problems. That's it.
Was there ever a moment, especially at your beginning, where you thought, oh, entrepreneurship's not for me?
No, never.
That's
never.
Crazy.
Not once. Not once. The thing that I found when I committed to doing it, not once, because I thought this is what works for me, because I don't operate like everybody else. I don't work normal hours. Where I have joy and pleasure is work. Others don't. So I've always found it really hard to fit in, because where I'm happiest is actually filling my brain with information that probably most people don't particularly find interesting. So I don't know if I've told you, I don't watch TV. I don't understand TV. I don't know why we watch TV, but everyone else can watch TV. But I just don't, I get bored and agitated very quickly. So I don't watch TV. I just consume work-related stuff. I read a lot of published literature. I do business, acumen, so on. So for me, once I committed to this is my path, the best decision of my life to now do my own thing.
Yeah.
So yes.
I think for a lot of people, they find it difficult to fully commit, I think. Yeah. And that was, I would say that was my problem when I started. I felt that I find it very difficult to jump from the mindset of an employee to employer.
Yeah.
Very difficult. So that's why I was curious, because if I can be honest, for me, probably that was the biggest hurdle to say, I'm working all of these hours, I'm putting all of myself into it. And at the time I thought, well, if I was working for somebody, I would have I don't know, a $200K salary, right? Yeah. And it's very difficult because, my family really didn't tell me anything about business. We were coming from a very, very simple family in Italy where to this day they still struggle with money and with understanding kind of how the world works. There's a lot of hate and being almost anger against the wealthy. And then for me specifically, I was exposed to the wealthy world when I was working for, these big Italian brands, like $10,000 suits and so on. And I discovered that most of the wealthy people, most of the very successful people, they work really hard. They have a moral compass. They put a lot of it. And that was when I thought, why not me? So that's why I was interested to hear your story, how was that? But for you was commitment, to be 100% committed. And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. I think it's funny when you run a company, which I didn't probably anticipate. It's amazing, but it's also lonely. So there's, when, everyone looks to you, they need something all the time. The staff need something. You've got to juggle everything. And, they're reliant on you to run the business well, to keep the staff to pay their wages. But there's no backstop. That was probably the first thing I realized. Running a company, if you work in public health, you work in this you're a cog in this huge thing. When it's your own company, you're it. So learning to be comfortable to say the buck stops with you and you're responsible, that probably was uncomfortable for, a while, but then, you just lean into it and you think, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do this.
I think it's that thought of, I think there was a thought for me specifically, there was some sort of magical manual.
Oh, really?
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, these are how things are done, right?
Yeah.
The right things to do it. But what most people don't know is that you could be running like 7, 8, 9-figure businesses and there's no manual. Like you just find solutions all the time.
Yeah, there is no manual. And I think that that's why the people that I spend time with, I bounce stuff off. I don't have all the answers in my head. Building your network of like-minded people has been the best thing to catapult my business because I don't know the answers. And if I did, then I would think that's actually, a very indulgent thing to say because you never know all of the answers. You always have to learn from people. So building my network of people that are, also like pushing hard, finding people that want to push hard, that's helped massively because then you're kind of validated by these people, even totally different sectors. And I think that's why you and I connect because we work in completely different spaces, but we both have the same work ethic. That it's like hustle, hard. And, from the outside, people, wouldn't know what we do in the background, but we know. So I think there's mutual friendship and respect.
Exactly. They see the lights as they're in Italy now.
They're in West Palm Beach. They're having a best time in West Palm Beach. But we're also like, gunning hard. And, you're the same. It's balance of family and school runs and pickups. And, on the first day of school, I was like, okay, I have nothing for school lunches.
But tell me about that part, because obviously we talked about you as an individual, like working on this company and now working on another project that we're going to touch on. But really, an untrained eye, not within the professional sector, a pick up and drop off at school, they will see like a single mother.
Yep.
So what was what's it like? What was like, because there's a lot of, in the world, there's always a lot of excuses. There's a lot of like blaming everybody else. And I know that you didn't blame anybody. You just took responsibility and you just like run with it. So
I think the main thing is balance doesn't exist. There's not a sweet spot. I think it's, the way to manage the different roles is just pivot. And, we apply it to business, but I also feel I apply it to being a mom and a friend and a partner and, a boss to my staff. I constantly have to change. So, at work, I'm, doing work things and my staff need me and so on. But then as soon as I get home, they do not care what I've done all day. And, if I've done something great, they don't care. They're just like, why are you late? That's normally the first question. Why are you so late coming home? That's probably the first one. And they're like, also, I'm a terrible cook. So they're always like, can we just get Uber Eats? And I just think like, time economy is probably better than me trying to cook because I'm like very bad at cooking. But the thing that I found, like when I turn up to the gate, people don't know me in my work role. They just know me as Madeleine's mum, So it's interesting. You probably know, I'm quite shy outside of my like work role. So I tend to, probably keep to myself more. But I think that's the main thing, just, where you have to be at that time. And often I have like 2 phones in my pockets going buzz, buzz, buzz through a school assembly. But in that moment, I try to be like, okay, be present.
Yeah.
So it's a juggle.
But I think like you said it, but it's about that lifetime balance, life-work balance that where most of people, like everyone else, always sees it as, well, I want to spend set amount of hours in the house. I want to spend set amount of hours at work. And that's what, and I want to be rewarded for set amount of dollars for the hours that I work.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. So, and running a business, there's no currency to hours. Like you can work, you can consult and see your worth into how much is an hour worth. But that's not how it runs. But also I think that if you feel that's how it runs, you're going to fail. Because if you start sort of, saying, well, I've put that much in, so I should get back, it's not how it works.
Literally, I stopped looking at what I might be worth per hour. Like, 2 years ago.
Yeah, it doesn't work. But I think the interesting thing is within the business world, people don't know that I'm a single parent. They don't know that I have kids because in a lot of ways it's not relevant. Because again, it's people might say, well, because I'm a single parent, I can't do those things. Well, I can. So within our business group, I think that, for a long time, people didn't actually know any of my story because I turned up as Kezia, entrepreneur, CEO of these companies. It wasn't relevant and it is never an excuse not to turn up for work. So
not to achieve and not to, that's right.
No.
Can you tell me now, so extremely successful with this company.
Yep.
And then you talked about pivoting within your personal life, your business life, and you've done a massive pivot right now. Like, I don't know how long has it been, probably like couple months.
With the AI?
With the AI,
Yep.
But you saw, I think we talked about this like in our private conversations, but what I saw is that you're extremely great experience within your industry, the health industry. And quite literally, that's how you told it to me over coffee.
Yeah.
He said, this was a problem that nobody was looking at.
Yep.
And everybody just like takes it because it exists.
Yeah.
But then you're solving it is a massive one.
Yeah.
So why, I guess, like what made you push to get that change? Because I would call that a contribution and a disruption of industry. Like that's how I call it.
Yeah.
But you tell me.
That's how I call it too. So I feel like I've learned if you're solving a problem in business, it sells itself. Because often if we're trying to compete in a market of same, you've got to try and get your USP. You've got to be better than everyone else in some way. The AI business that I had, so working in the disability sector, we would go and see our participants and we all know tech is the biggest thing happening in our lifetime.
That's right.
But I would go and see our people. So we predominantly work with adolescents, young adults. We work with complex mental health, intellectual disability, and a lot of neurodivergent autism in particular. So I would go and see our clients, or myself would go see the clients. And we would find that they're not able to access tech. So they're not able to use ChatGPT, Claude, even the internet. And most of them have a phone. So most of them, it's not actually the equipment. That's the problem. It's actually the understanding, how do I use these things? So within the NDIS, it's, the most funded scheme in the world for people with a disability. So we are incredibly blessed in this country, despite a lot of people feeling that it's, it's not enough. It's actually huge working in it.
Right.
It's really, it's amazing. Anyway, I saw in this scheme, we're reliant on workers to help people do really basic things that they could do for themselves and they want to, and they could do it through tech. So while we're all building tech for the world to be smarter, so we're building really clever things for people to be able to code and people to be able to set up, AI agents. It's great for a big proportion of our population, but there's millions of people that we're not looking after. So people with a cognitive impairment. So that's people with processing difficulties, intellectual disability, autism, schizophrenia, bipolar, what else? We've got brain injury, dementia, Alzheimer's. There's millions of people. So it's like 1 in 6 people in the world are considered to have a cognitive impairment. So we're not building tech for those people. So I was like, this sucks. I'm going to build it. Because why is no one building this why are all these people not accessing tech like others can? So I thought, I'm going to change it. And I thought, I don't know how yet, but I'm going to do it. So then that's sort of where it started. And then I thought, how am I going to make this happen? How am I going to make this happen? And then we are. So now what we've launched now is called Learnable, which is the first platform in the world that's AI built specifically for people with a cognitive impairment. So the way it works is, they can access the internet and tech just like everybody else on a platform that speaks their language, basically.
Yes. It's like a translation. So it makes it a little bit easier for them to like use those tools for everybody else.
Exactly.
It's a little bit easier for.
It's voice in, voice out. So you can either do, so if you can't read or your literacy is very poor, that's fine. You can speak into it and it can speak back to you, and we can customize it based on disability, based on how You want responses. If you can only manage short sentences, we can customize it. If it's only up to 4 commands at a time, we can customize it. We can customize it if, you've got really bad anxiety, we can use a different type of tone and voice. We can customize it. Any disability, our team has basically built this, IP inside it that it's customizable entirely. And then the participant also can choose the voice. So if they want a calm voice, an energetic voice, they can change that. So they can speak to it, or they can do voice and text or text. So all of it's completely customizable because everybody's different. Everyone uses things differently.
That's right.
But yeah, it holds massive amounts of information. You can ask it, I've only got 3 ingredients in my fridge. I've got brown sugar, carrots, and I don't know, peanut butter.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah.
And it will give you a recipe.
Yeah.
And it will do it in steps that you can understand.
And the thing is that one of the first things that most people would say, they'll say, well, why don't they just use ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Why don't they just use? But I think what you guys did is about designing it, because I'm going to invite you to explain it even more, designing it for people that, for most of us, it's difficult to comprehend the limit.
Yep.
Because you saw it by working with them. So what are those limits to make people understand like that massive jump?
Yeah. So if you ask a basic question in chat, it'll give you an answer that's generally, and I'm just using ChatGPT because it's the most common, used platform. So if you put something in, it will give you an answer, but it will probably give you like reams of information. My participants, our sector, disability sector, and a lot of people generally, they can't actually, first of all, they might not be able to read all the information. They might not be able to type the question in to know what they need to ask. Then when they get this huge ream of things, what do they do with it? When we built this, we did co-design. So we had a lot of participants come in and test and try and tell us, why does other platforms not work? What do they like about this? We spoke to psychologists and speech therapists and OTs and industry leaders. What works? So we've hit this sweet spot. So it's not the equipment. So it's the fact that it's not being understood.
That's right.
So so many people can't use chat. And the problem is, the more that they don't use it, the divide of the population that is getting smarter and more opportunity and we'll have, if you think in 5 to 10 years, because we're tech savvy, what we can do will be entirely different from a massive part of the population that can't use it just because the train's left. They've been left behind.
That's right. That's right. And I think, again, it's looking at the industry, seeing a massive, huge gap that I feel like most people overlook for whatever reason. And most people, they will feel overwhelmed to build something like this.
Yeah.
And the cool thing that I love about you is literally, because that was one of my questions. I was like, are you tech savvy? Like, what's going on?
Oh, okay. So I've got a cheat sheet.
Yes.
Let me tell you this. So I've got really good ideas. I'm like the ideas woman, but I happen to cross paths with someone that's very, very, very good at tech. His name's Lee Hunter. So he worked at Google and YouTube for 10 years. He has done all sorts of jobs. He did global marketing for Google. And then, he's incredibly intelligent. And most recently, he was actually CEO of TikTok for Australia and New Zealand. And he also looked after Latin America at one point. So he's done these huge things. We crossed paths and I was like, hey, I want to build this thing. And he's like, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And he's always said he wants to be an entrepreneur. So, he's done these huge jobs, but he's like, I want to do something. And so I pitched this idea to him and he was like, I'm all in. Let's do it. So we bring totally different skills. I'm from the health background. He's from tech background, but that's kind of what makes it also really unique in this kind of sweet spot of a combination.
Possible.
So then he is very clever at the tech side. So I was like, this is what we need to build. And he kind of hacked it together. So at least when we got to the point where we needed to brief agencies to build this, he had worked out how could this actually work because it doesn't exist. So we've had to, work out. So yeah, he was, I've got to say, it's not like I learned how to code and all this. He's the other half of Learnable. So it's there's two of us in this together.
But I think also there's always to have in a lot of the founders and a lot of entrepreneurs, there's always, so I can speak from my own experience. I am probably the loud, the one that goes on stage, the one that public speaking, travel, celebrities. But then behind me, I have like Angela. She's my older half, where she implemented AI in the company. I didn't. I thought that taking measurements of somebody would never be other job than a tailor.
Yeah.
And a master tailor, right? Like myself, like 10 years in the business. And then Angela, like, she proved me wrong. She was like, let's give it a try. Let's see how it is. And then I was very upset because she was right.
So she's like the driver behind the whole thing.
She's the driver.
Yeah.
Like, she brought basically tailoring into the 2026.
Yeah.
And understanding the AI, it is like yourself, like you knew that you needed to pivot.
Yep.
And ourselves, like, I didn't want to have a team that was the bottleneck.
Yeah.
Because I know that we do good. Like, I know that we do good to people, and we really help, like, especially like the entrepreneur side, that where, a lot of people, they had their voices not heard, they're not seen. And I see it, the difference. I see that they walk into a room and then all of a sudden people get to talk to them instead of them going to everyone else.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great power to have, and to have a bottleneck where, say, I have people that take the measurements, and then stuff like you can teach them, but there's always mistakes, and then AI doesn't make a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, it is what it is. Like, these are the body measurements. Let's create a suits out of it. So,
but the one thing I think is interesting that AI it can prompt us and teach us, but the social connection is still one that we have to know in business of, a brand.
yeah.
So I think that this is what has been one of the things that I've learned is you're a brand. So, we can use all the tech, we've got all of that, but the way that we present, the way that we dress is then also how we're received. So I've certainly found that, particularly working with Lee, that he's got this great CV, he's got this, amazing career and so on, but we very much stand together. It's not, because he's done all these things. So it's the brand that you build for yourself is very, very important. And, I learned very quickly, he's a seasoned pro. He knows exactly who he is and, what his interests are and so on. So I think that that's one of the really interesting things is that people need to remember they're a brand. You're not just the ideas, because if your ideas, but, you're not, I suppose not well put together, people aren't going to listen. As crude as that sounds, you have to know how you want to present yourself to the sector to be taken seriously.
Yes.
I'll tell you a story. Often when I go and do things, like the other day I was at Telstra, I said to them, hi, can I please get some more phones? So I've got probably like 7 with them. I have some new staff, and I wasn't in my suit, thank you very much. I was in my casual clothes. And they said to me, oh, we can't authorize that. And I was like, well, no, it's my company. And they're like, oh, no. And they said, get your ASIC docs up. I was like, sure. Got them up. They're like, no, I don't think so. I think you need to go and ask the boss. Then I was like, all right. Okay. And I was like, no, it is me. And again, they're like, no.
Yeah.
So this happens all the time. And I think that that's so interesting because the way we present ourselves is how we're taken seriously. But I feel like particularly as a woman, if I wear my casual Saturday clothes, which I do all the time, the way I'm perceived, particularly in business, is, totally different.
Yeah.
So
I think there's nothing wrong at all, like in being yourself, being authentic to yourself, being casual. I think it's great. The thing that I feel like it escapes the masses. It escapes the masses.
Yes.
Because obviously we talk like this because we do have a very special access to a world that unfortunately, not by choice of the people that don't want to be part of it, but it escapes the masses that within the game of business that you are playing at, it's just not a choice.
No.
You can't be the soccer mom.
No.
You can't.
No.
And you won't be taken seriously.
No.
And it's one of those things that, it escapes most people because most people, they are not essentially put in that opportunity. They're not in that door yet.
Yeah.
And so they act like they will never be in front of that door. They will never be in that opportunity. But with you, it started with knowing that you belong to those rooms. And then it's just a little adjustment. And be like, okay,
but when the opportunity comes, you just go, yep. And, even if you think, how on earth am I going to sit across the table with these people? You commit. You commit. And I think that one of the things that we're fortunate in our group, we have opportunities, but we work our butts off. And we also, it's a group of people that push really hard. And if you don't, if that's not your mentality, it's not for you. And that's like very, very clear from the outset. We don't have excuses. Everyone like hustles hard, but then it's also a choice. And I think that that's why we're so fortunate to have this group from all around the world. Everyone comes from different parts of the world. But that's kind of what our culture is. And it's so rare. But, that's why I value this group more than anything.
I think I remember we have like a few, like all these people in common that we know that we know. And to give a clear example, like to somebody that doesn't understand, it's literally, I remember it was like a big achievement within my business. I achieved it was like a 7-figure thing.
Yeah.
And I went to my friend and he's like, so why didn't you do more? I was like, well, what do you mean? I did all of that. And he's like, yeah, but like you told me, because they remember.
Yes.
They're like, you told me that this was the number.
Yes.
And whatever you've done is good, but like, why didn't you get this number?
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? So that's literally like the world that, like the people around us that are really, really pushing us on to be the very best self, because without that mindset in mind, you wouldn't be able to build something that doesn't exist and is going to be groundbreaking, worldwide AI system for the health industry. I mean, you can't be at your best if you don't have these people around you.
Correct. And I think that having a group gives you, and finding your tribe, that's the most important thing. Finding a group that, is going to see you and also push you along, because we've got people from everywhere who are really interesting, pushing their own sectors. So even if we're not in the same sector, we're all trying to do really interesting work. That's hard. Doing startups is hard. It's not, like, I'll go on like holiday leave. You take your phones everywhere. Yeah. I've not taken a single day off since I started.
That's right. No,
it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It never stops. But also that's a choice. And that's a choice we make. Nobody's forcing us to do this. So I think that that's really important. If you are an entrepreneur and you're a like hustler startup, no one forces you. And if you think someone forces it, you will not last.
No.
Because you have to want it like so bad, every day, so bad.
That's another example of the hustler mentality. Last year when I was, when I was in Italy for Andrea Bocelli, like giving him his suit and his jacket, I still remember, I was in Italy I was meant to be there for like 3 days, which to most people, you say, I'm going to go to Italy from Australia for 3 days and then come back. They'll think you're crazy.
Yeah.
So then I was like, I'm just going to have 2 more days.
Okay.
I know where this is going. I said, let me have a couple of days. Yeah. So you know what happened?
Yeah.
So then it was 5 days total.
Yeah, okay.
So I arrived there in the morning, like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
From a 24-hour flight. And I went to see my factories.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Straight from the airport, I just got a car and I went to see the factories.
Yes, you're like, I'm here.
Okay, great. I mean, let's go see. Then, and then all day. So that was like, I went to see like three different factories. And then the next day, I went to see, what's it called? So those were the fabric factories. And then I went to see another factory in another part of Italy.
Yeah.
1,000 Ks away from that.
Nothing.
He's-
Nothing.
Then the third day, and that was the same day as the when I was meant to meet Andrea Bocelli
Yeah.
to deliver his jacket. In the morning, I did a photo shoot, like a cool 7-hour
Yeah.
photo shoot for the brand.
Good. Yeah.
Then I did Bocelli. I met him that night. Then there was a party the next day, and I
Yeah.
left. So
Yeah.
that was my extra day.
But you know, the funny thing is,
The extra day
if you
to meet him.
told our group, they're like, yeah, that's Bruno. Of course you have to
course.
do Bruno.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is then when you go back to life outside of like business hustle,
Yeah.
our group, everyone's like, what the hell
What
do
do
you
you
guys
need?
do? Like, what do
Yeah.
you do? And it's funny because when we go around the world and, you know, you and I were in West Palm Beach, like 2 weeks ago, we flew in from Sydney. We both arrived the night before.
Yeah, then
And we
were
texted.
we were kind to ourselves.
We had,
not
like,
to arrive like
A minute before. Yeah. So we arrived in West Palm Beach the night before. And then our, our meeting with Tommy Hilfiger was the next day. And we both sat there together. We were the only Australians. And we're like, whoa. Because remember I said to you at the airport, hey, Bruno, I looked at the
it was
map.
next morning. It was literally the next morning.
And I looked at the map. I was like, Bruno, we're going really far. And it sounds so basic, but I was like, I just had hustled to the airport. But it was like the best.
But you know, like that was like the example. Like we met Tommy Hilfiger, and he was talking about his business and how even himself is applying AI, and you can tell like and when you get to listen from a giant like that, and the way he thinks, then it kind of pushes you as a being a better entrepreneur,
Yeah.
kind of understanding the Tommy Hilfigers of the world weren't given the brand, weren't given that title. They like to this day he's working on it. So,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
was very eye-opening, I think.
I think it was great. I think having, speaking to him and hearing about how they launched their brand, how they injected that into, popular culture and celebrities and all of that, that's interesting. And every time we have a chance to go and listen to smarter, more successful people, we better ourselves.
Yeah.
So, for us, we don't care. We fly however long to get there.
And you specifically, you had the chance to have an interaction about, of course, your sector.
Yeah.
You wanted to talk to me, to Tommy Hilfiger about the...
Yeah, Learnable. Yeah. So when the opportunity came that I could meet Tommy Hilfiger and discuss Learnable, for me, that was like a no-brainer. So he has a long history advocating for autism because he has family members who are on the spectrum. He's also part of two big, the biggest American organization for autism. So when I met him and I said, listen, I'm building this thing, we're addressing this, huge issue, global issue of, access to tech for people with a cognitive disability. And he sort of said, yeah, we know about it. I said, no, I've built it. And then he was like, really? You've built it? I said, yeah, we've built it. And I explained what it was. And he immediately was like, we need to talk. We need to talk. And who does that happen to? You know what I mean?
That's incredible.
It's
Just the
like
fact that he's within that realm, and he understands it well, and seeing what you've done and what you're building.
Yeah.
And kind of like having that eye for it, be like, oh, like, I can't believe that you're building this.
But like, as soon as I explained it, like, he got it straight away because he knows the problem.
Of course.
But the problem is who's going to solve it? And I think that that's the main thing. To be an entrepreneur, you got to solve a problem. And it's like being curious, constantly curious. How am I going to make it better? How am I going to make it better? Because the easy path is like, I don't really know, it's too hard. Nah. But meeting curious people, and he instantly was like, we need to like sort this out. So our next steps is we're talking to them and we're going to take it from there. But it's pretty exciting that other people see what we're doing and see the worth. It's pretty good.
Beautiful. Yeah. Honestly. Learnable, Tommy Hilfiger, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
How lucky.
It's very lucky. And I mean, I was actually, I mean, you know the story, but I did that. I did do that special jacket for him. Well, I wanted to ask you very, very quickly about your experience within branding. So you started, again, single mom, built your business, scaled it, now AI. Why was it important for you to, you spoke about how important it was that perception in the behind the closed doors, the meetings and everything. But then you also added another layer. Now you're public speaking, 2,000 people, Los Angeles. How important is for you that representation that is authentic to yourself and to the brand?
It's such a huge part of my success is to present myself in you got to know your room. You got to know who you're presenting to. The way you appear is what people see first.
Yeah.
If they, see that you're well put together and that you know yourself. So even with my suits, I said to you, Bruno, this is I don't want to wear a suit like this. This is who I am. This is my brand. This is how I like to present myself or wear my clothes.
Yeah.
And you've got it straight away. You're like, yeah, okay, this is how we're going to make the suit. But you need to, you have to know your brand. You have to know who you're targeting. You have to know that, you're going to walk into this room and you feel confident, but also that people take you seriously.
Yeah. So and your message, I think.
Yeah. You have to, the way that you present yourself is a huge part. If, way to try and, I had some pretty big meetings in the last 6 months. If I went there in my, kind of haphazard, kind of good clothes.
Trying to.
Yeah, people see through it instantly.
Really?
Yes, you kind of have to, if you don't believe in your craft, if you don't believe in yourself and you don't look in there and you're like, I got this.
I'm okay.
Nobody's going to take you seriously. And I think even, to be honest, I think a bit more as a woman that,
wow.
You've got to run in the room and be so confident. And, like I said, I'm shy outside of work, but I know my stuff and I know my brand and I know how important it is to succeed. You have to have a brand. It is I didn't know that before I started my companies, but I learned quick. You're nothing without your own brand.
Yeah.
And also, no one wants to see your dogs and cats and kids on social media. You have your work page. That is your brand. No one cares if you've got a dog.
Yeah. No. And the one thing that like to add to this also, I personally am not necessarily an advocate for suits on everyone. I'm an advocate for authenticity translated for those rules.
Yep.
So do you think that what we designed together was authentic to the person that you are?
Yes. So the brief that I said to you was I love mono. I like one color head to toe. So I really, I don't like bright colors. I don't like, patterns. I like mono. Beige is my favorite color, ironically.
Yeah.
And that was my brand. That's
and there was also like a feeling of, I want to be comfortable. At the end of the day, not you specifically, but most men and women that we work with, they have their own insecurities, as I do. Like I literally, I'm experiencing in a very raw way in this last, I want to say 6 months, my body's changing. I can't control it. Like I'm working on it. And thanks to some adjustment and some clever, measuring, I'm able to hide things, or I'm able to show more of all the things. So I think being authentic to yourself is paramount. Being comfortable in your own skin makes a difference when you don't have time to think about how you look. Because I imagine when you were on stage in front of 2,000 people, I bet in answering questions in a very fast-paced, heated interview, you didn't have time to think about how you look.
No. But if I wasn't dressed in something that I was 100% sure was on point, that would be am I crossing my legs the right way? If I cross that way, does it make look this less, desirable? Because like you said, everyone has their own bits and pieces with their body. So the things that one of the things I said to you was, when I sit down, I don't like things tight around my waist. So you said, that's no problem. So you put these clasps on the side, but when I sit down, I just loosen them. And I'm it's like tap pants. And then when I need to go on stage or something, I just tighten them up and then they sit perfectly. And, the other thing is I'm very tall. So I'm actually 6 foot tall. despite being very average size here, I'm very, very tall.
We are lying down on this
Yeah,
couch.
it's
I feel
like still. But my leg length is about 38, which I can't buy in the shops. So I'm constantly thinking, oh, how am I going to adapt that? Do I try and, because it looks terrible.
Do I hide the piece of fabric on the bottom?
Or can I like unstitch it and let it? It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So when I said to you, hey guys, I need like
the leg.
long.
Yeah. When I see the leg.
Yeah, but also that's one of the things that's unique. I was blessed to be tall and embrace that you're tall, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to sell it. Yeah. This is what I want. I want really long pants because that's my brand. I'm this, tall woman and I've got this mono kind of
thing going on.
Yes. Yeah. And you guys got it. You're just like, yeah, okay, we can do that.
Yeah. No, look, like I repeat, like I think the authenticity is like number one, and the way that we work together, like it will be completely different, like with whoever I work with. Authentic to yourself, make sure to doing the best first, second, third, fourth impressions. I mean, yourself, like you are able to build your brain, you build your persona to a level where it just screams authority.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, whatever you are, I feel like I hear that scream. I hear authority, trust. I know what I'm talking about. And thank you for taking me on your journey.
But can I just say one thing for anyone that's listening? When you come and say that you have a consult with Bruno, you don't have to know who you are yet.
That's right.
So I would say that, yes, right now I can say I'm tall and I like long pants and it's mono. I didn't know that. So it's okay not to know what's my brand yet. And it's also okay to like shift and change.
Yeah.
So I think that, you don't come into business or you're building a personal brand being like, I know what I am. You can just feel it out. If you get your bones, your equipment, like start with a suit, feel it. And then kind of like, because you can always change color, change pattern, change undershirt, put a vest on, all of that.
Yeah.
So I think that that's really important. You don't have to know exactly what you want.
No.
You can come, have,
I think actually it's so interesting that you mentioned it because, and you said it perfectly. I never thought that people might have that anxiety to be like, I need to know what I want.
Yes.
Because obviously, like, it's not done, it's not made. And to me, because obviously I've been doing it for so many years and that's what I'm passionate about, I'm like, of course you don't know. I help you. Like, that's my job.
Yeah.
But most people, they think that I'm coming to get something.
And then also people want to copy. So they're like, oh, but I like how that person looks. So I think that looks good. So I think that's my body type. I'll do that.
Yeah.
But the easiest thing is, Angela was fantastic as well. What do you like? What's your vibe? What's it? And you guys helped me to say, okay, this is what would look, really good. And like this color, for example, you're like, this is on trend this season. I was like, all right, let's go for brown.
Let's try it.
Let's go for brown.
It's in the realm of the benches. A very dark finish.
Very dark beige. You love beige, but you were like, no, we need to go for a brown suit. I was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know 3 years ago, and now I'm like, I know exactly who I am. But again, maybe in 12 months,
it might change.
Sorry, like, Bruno, let's make another suit. Right? Some people say it's not going to be a bright color, but it might be like another shade of beige.
Keep your ear to the ground, guys. Like, it might happen. Look, thank you, Kezia. Like, it's been awesome. We had some technical difficulty, but that's how life is. And like the one thing that I want to say about you is you have been you are an incredible person in general to be around. Your values are beautiful, like friendship, family, just like overall, like you work really hard, like you have like an incredible work ethic. And then at the same time, like you are able to push other people and elevate everyone around you elevates. That's what I've noticed, the people that surround you. So I mean it. So, and you've done so well and so far, and you're doing great things with the AI, solving a worldwide problem. I think truthfully, I cannot wait to see where this journey is taking you. And If you're happy, I'll be very simple to work.
If they're stressed out, I'm going to be traveling forever. No, that's okay. Thank you. I think, I think it's like pretty exciting what we're doing next. And yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for law-based suits.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bruno.